Okay guys, so we are going to be doing the combination skill brief change and peri care, and we're going to be doing it on a male. So what are my first 5 steps? Knock, hand hygiene, identify, explain, privacy. Okay, now what can I do? Raise my side rails. Yep, because I'm going to have to pull my patient. Am I going to need to wear gloves to change somebody's brief?
Yes.
Yes. Do I need gloves on right now while I'm touching my bed and doing all this? No. So for each skill, we're going to be using our gloves at the same time, but we're never walking right in and putting gloves on, okay? Because I'm wearing gloves if I'm going to touch what? Any kind of bodily fluid, so I don't need to wear the gloves until that's a possibility, okay? So this rail needs to go down. Before I would put that rail down, I'm going to move my table over here so that I don't have to walk back and forth, okay? So that it's just right here with me. Okay, so now this can go down. The next thing I'm going to do is drape my patient for privacy. So I have a bath blanket here, and I'm just going to unfold this over him. We're never doing like one of these, okay? We're always just keeping it flat and unfolding. So I'm gonna unfold it completely. And then I'm going to fan fold the sheet underneath it down. So by fan folding, I mean I'm folding it inward. That way when I go to put it back up, I would just roll it and it would come right back up, okay? So keeping him covered the entire time, I'm gonna fan fold this sheet down. It doesn't have to look perfect, nobody's gonna see it. We just want this top sheet down to his feet. Okay. Once I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and position him. I don't have to uncover him to do that. We're positioning the exact same whether it's male or female, okay? So, at this point, I'm gonna put my chucks pad underneath my patient, okay? Your gloves are the same scenario every single skill. Your gloves go on right before your chuck pad or waterproof pad, whatever you wanna call it. They call them chucks in hospitals. So right before your chucks pad, they're gonna go on, and then as soon as I take that chucks pad out, then they're gonna come off, okay? Because that's like the signal if things could get dirty here. So I'm gonna put my gloves on. And I'm gonna uncover my patient. So this brief that he's wearing is soiled or it's dirty. So I'm gonna take this off. And I'm just gonna take like where the straps are and kind of tuck them under his butt a little bit. I don't need to roll them or anything. I'm just tucking that under his butt. And then the same way I would do a gown. His penis should not come off with it. It doesn't happen in real life. The same way I would do a gown, I'm gonna roll this inward. Okay. So on the day of testing, you may have like a black trash bag here. You may have a trash can, or you may not have anything. If you don't have anything, it doesn't matter. Your table can be whatever you tell them it is. Okay, so you can just set this right back on your table and say, this is my trash can. Okay, but right now I've got a trash can, so I'm gonna throw it in there. That is a dirty, and I'm covering my patient in the midst of this, okay, because he doesn't need to be exposed. So that was a dirty a dirty brief. So now my gloves are dirty, okay? So I'm going to take these gloves off the same way we did during PPE, and I'm pulling it, and that comes off, okay? And that goes in the trash. So the dirty brief is off, my dirty gloves are off. Now I'm gonna place this chucks pad what would I need to do before I could put clean gloves back on?
Wash your hands.
So I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna perform hand hygiene. Now I'm gonna put my clean gloves on. Chuck's pad is just going to kind of tuck right under his butt there, just so the bed doesn't get wet. Okay. So at any point, it doesn't matter when you do it. It can be one of the first things you do when you walk in the room and you look at your table and your materials. But at some point before you start washing your patient, you're going to take your thermometer and put it in the water. You're going to tell your evaluator that the temperature is between 110 and 115 degrees. Okay, 110 and 115 degrees. If you forget that number, that's okay. Just stick the thermometer in there and say the temperature's good or it's accurate. Okay, just still check it. If you forget the number, it's no big deal. Just it's good or what it's supposed to be. So I've got my basin. I'm going to tell them it's 2/3 full. So it's 2/3 full of warm water, 110 to 115, or good, however you want to say it. And then I'm going to get my washcloth. You can do your washcloth one of two ways. Every swipe that I make when I'm cleaning somebody needs to be a clean side, okay? So I can either just leave it folded like this, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 clean sides, or we can make a glove, completely up to you guys. The glove's a little bit easier once you get the hang of putting it on. So I'll come around and show you guys as you're practicing. But once I've got this glove, this mitt on, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just switching my hand every time. Makes sense? Okay. So I'm going to take my washcloth. I'm getting it wet. I'm going to add soap. Remember, this is all just pretend, okay? There will not be real water on the day of testing, and you don't have to take the soap out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is tell my evaluator that I would retract the foreskin. A lot of geriatric males are not circumcised, so we're just assuming he's not circumcised. So I'm going to retract the foreskin, and the first thing I'm going to clean is around the urinary meatus, so the hole, okay? Just like a woman, I want to clean away from the hole so nothing can get in there. So I'm going to do 3 swipes using a clean side every time, and I'm going in circles away from the hole, okay? So if this is your penis, then I would do 1 right here at the tip, 1 going further back, a circle around, and then 3 going back, a circle around, okay? Okay, so that part's clean. And now I'm gonna do the shaft. So washcloth, this is a new washcloth. I'm just gonna tell my evaluator it's a new washcloth, okay? You don't have to grab a new one, you just tell them. New washcloth, it's wet. I've added soap, and now I'm gonna clean the shaft. I'm gonna do that in 4 parts. So I'm gonna do the top, and again, I'm going from top to bottom, so going back away from the hole. Clean side 2, clean side 3, I'm doing the bottom, clean side 4 on the other side, okay? New washcloth again, because I just used all 4 sides. So I'm gonna get water, soap, and then I'm going to do the testicles or the scrotum, whatever you guys want to say. I'm just going to do 1 side and then 2 sides. Okay, so now everything is clean. It has soap. Now I'm going to rinse it. So I'm going to grab a new washcloth. This is water only. I am going to switch sides when I'm using the washcloth to rinse, but I don't have to switch for every swipe I make. Does that make sense? So just imagine that you're swiping soap off. You would eventually get too much soap. You'd have to switch sides, but you don't have to meticulously every side. Okay. Shaft. Now everything is washed. It's rinsed. Now I can take my towel and I'm going to pat dry. Okay. When we are when we are cleaning the peri area, so the perineum, that includes either penis or vagina, as well as their butt, as well as rectum. So that's all clean. I'm gonna kind of tuck this in between his legs so that when I roll him, it doesn't fall right off of him. And I'm gonna roll him over to clean his bottom. So I want my table super close to me because when I do this, I'm gonna be one-handed. Okay, so I'm gonna be holding him and then just have one hand to grab everything. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll him over. And see how this is tucked so it doesn't come, it's keeping his privacy. So water, soap, I'm just gonna do one swipe and then two swipes. If you ever forget like the tip, the shaft, how many swipes we need for each part, you can just do it 2 times and then tell your evaluator, I would do that as many times as necessary. And that'll cover you if you forget. So this is water only, and I'm gonna rinse. And then with my towel, I'm gonna pat dry. So at this point, I'm ready to put on my clean brief, okay? But these gloves are not clean, right? These are dirty gloves, so I've got to change them first. So I'm going to tell my evaluator that if my Chuck's pad, if my waterproof pad were soiled, I would remove it, but it's not, so I'm gonna leave it right there, okay? And then I'm gonna roll him back over. I'm gonna take these gloves off. Oops, and they will rip sometimes, it's okay, just go right on with it. I'm gonna remove those. What do I need to do before I put on my clean ones? I'm gonna wash my hands again. Sometimes some evaluators will leave hand sanitizer sitting on your table. Hand sanitizer can take the place of washing your hands anytime, okay? So you can like pretend to use the sanitizer, or you can just tell them you're washing your hands, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I've got clean gloves on, and then I've got my clean brief. The Velcro parts go in the back. So I'm gonna do this all at once. I only wanna roll him one time. So I'm gonna roll him back over. I'm gonna remove this Chuck's pad, just like we do everything else. I'm rolling it inward with the dirty part on the inside. That's gonna go in the trash. I'm gonna put his brief underneath him. And then roll him back. I should have pushed the brief enough that I don't have to roll them at all. It should just be right here on this side for me to grab. Okay, now he's got his clean brief on. Okay, now that I've done that, he's draped. I'm not gonna be touching anything else dirty. So my Chuck came out, these gloves can come off, okay? So I'm gonna remove these gloves and they're gonna go in the trash. Okay, so now we're completely done. His brief is changed, he's been cleaned. So now I can remove this bath blanket. I'm just gonna cover them back up with their sheet. And then fan fold this down. And then when I pull it out, just like anything else, I don't want this ever touching me. I'm holding it away from me and I'm folding it inwards. And this is gonna go into the dirty linen. So now that we're completely done here, what can I do?
Raise the bed rail.
Yep. So I'm gonna raise that bed rail. I'm gonna lower my bed completely back down to the ground. And it's slow, so use it as a time to think about, did I miss anything? Throw it out there to my evaluator if I think it's even a possibility I missed something. Okay. So the bed's in the lowest position, I can lower both rails. Your guys' sheet should look nice and neat, and because it makes your evaluator think you're taking it seriously. And what are my last three things going to be? Call light, hand hygiene, report. And one more thing before we end it. So that was on a male. If I were to have a female, and I won't put her back up and do all that, but if I were to have a female, the only difference is the way that we clean, obviously, right? So the male has a lot more parts. For a female, I would just do one side and then do 2 swipes on that side, other side, and I would do 2 swipes on that side, and then the middle, and I would do 2 swipes in the middle. Okay, and just remember, if you ever forget that, you can tell them what? As many times as needed, as many times as necessary. And that's the only difference. It's a male and a female, okay? Okay, and that is that one.